welcome to the OVAReact podcast.
In a society that tries to put women in a box.
Let's overreact. It's your girl Momo Hoya.
It's your girl Angela Wamboy.
And it's your girl Lash Angela. And today we have
Tatiana Karanja, also known as Mama Olive.
Yay! Look forward to having you.
All right, so for everyone out there, if you have missed any past episodes, you can catch up on all the OVAReact episodes on our website at www.sisterspeaksglobal.org, or you can check us out on YouTube on Capital FM Kenya channel. And of course, we always have the OVAReact Hour every last Wednesday of the month alongside Anna Mora, where we touch on all issues celebrating women. And of course, we also have a lot of fun on the show celebrating female artists. So make sure you check us out.
Talking about celebrating, we want to celebrate Lockwood Furniture for this beautiful setup. So you want to check them out.
Awesome. And so today is a special day because we have Tatiana here. Before I introduce the purpose of today's show, we have a Sneakers Connect event on the 5th of July, and it's a Women and Health Fit Camp. We'll have dancing. We'll have a panel session. Tatiana is going to be one of the guests. Mo is going to be the moderator, and we'll have other guests like Dr. Amanda Kenya and Vinita Otieno, amongst others. And then we'll be bringing Motherhood Unplugged by Tatiana.
I'm so excited.
And so we're going to learn a bit about Tatiana's journey. For those who don't know, she did say her other name, but she's more famously known, I think, as Mama Olive. So she's a digital content creator, has been famously known more recently. You're a photographer.
I am.
Okay. But more recently known for, or rather people might connect with you more because of your motherhood journey and how you share it. But first of all, before we begin, how are you feeling out of 10?
Ooh, 7.
7.
I feel like 7, yeah. It's a
Okay.
good number. I don't know.
How are you all feeling out of 10?
I think I'm an 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
nice. I think I'm around a 7 as well. It's been a long day,
Yes,
but not a bad day.
Okay. I feel 8 today.
Okay.
I feel 8. So in terms of like the motherhood challenge, as we, rather the motherhood journey, as we get into the conversations about like your journey as a content creator and also motherhood, we're not mothers.
Mm-hmm.
So we were keen to know from your point of view, how would you define motherhood? And what advice would you have for us?
Wow. I feel like Angela already sees it because she has like her niece, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I already have niece, so I like to play mommy.
Yeah. It is the hardest thing, I think, like on this planet, but also the most fulfilling. And I just think there's no other, like no one knows love until you become a mom. I don't know. Like, I don't think there's any way to describe it. I would literally do anything for my kids, but it's just deeper than that. And I just don't think you can explain it until you are actually a mom. Sorry, it has been a long day if I'm stuttering a little bit here.
You're fine.
It is literally, like you said, motherhood challenge. It's so challenging.
Yes.
And especially being a mom of girls, like they will test you, they will test you. And the thing is they test you like your personality. They'll test your character. And then that hurts. Not just like boys like running around. I don't want to stereotype, but girls will really hurt you inside. But it's just so beautiful, and it's like every day is different because as they grow, I grow, and I'm learning as they learn. And it's just it's a wild ride, but it is so beautiful. It is such a beautiful journey.
For those who are not mothers, with what you know now, what would you tell for those who either aspire to be mothers or are pregnant currently?
I'd say firstly, like if you're with your partner, firstly discuss what your values are, I guess, as a parent, what you think your values would be as a parent. I think that's super important because you might love somebody and then suddenly you're a parent with somebody and you clash on the way in which you want to raise a child. And I think that's an incredibly important conversation to have beforehand. Talking about things like discipline and how you want to raise them and maybe their diet. I don't know, whatever it is, have those conversations, have those hard conversations. I also think learning about brain development is really important because I think as a Kenyan society, we often think that our kids are misbehaving, and it's just like discipline is like just hitting them and making them sit down and sit straight. And I think a lot of their behavior is literally just normal brain development, and it's so important. If you learn that early on, you're able to help your kids in ways, in different ways than maybe a more traditional upbringing in Kenya. And I think for me, that's something that I really want to amplify. Like I think this thing of like conscious parenting or that I think it's so highly misunderstood. And for me, it's just about being very intentional about the way you bring your kids up instead of just like punishing them to obey. And I think a lot of that has come for me because I'm trying to learn more about brain development, and that's been super helpful. And I think, making sure that you have money in the bank, because let's be honest, it is not cheap, and it only gets worse as my nappies might have been expensive, but I feel like Olive will want Sephora in like 2 years. And I just don't know. I don't know. But aside from that, there's, university and school fees, and it's a lot.
True.
And they eat a lot. And it's just,
Especially on holidays.
honestly, on holidays, I'm like, where's the food going? Like we've just eaten like 5 times. It's a lot. So just kind of prepare that way. And it would be nice to have a village around you. I mean, I think that's something maybe you can't plan for, or maybe you can, I don't know. I think it would be really important for you to have people around you that you can rely on. So if you can make sure to be in a space where you have a group of friends or your parents or your family around you, because it will really come in handy and it'll keep you sane.
Wow.
Amazing. It really does take a village to raise a child. And beyond your family, that's your village. You also have your online village.
Yes.
You've always been very open on your social media. Before you became a mom, you used it to document your journey as a photographer.
Yeah.
But now, how do you go about deciding what you share online? Like, what do you keep private? What do you decide you're going to display? You've been very open with your motherhood journey, and very candid. And how do you also deal with trolls? Because I've seen a lot of people say a lot of mean things. Sometimes when on your stories, I'm like, oh my God, why would people attack kids even, So how do you navigate sharing so many personal things online, and what do you choose to not share? And
I think what I would choose not to share is maybe something embarrassing of the kids. So I won't share them having a tantrum. And in fact, that's some questions I've gotten. Like, your Instagram account looks like your kids are just perfect. And so we don't see that side. I'm like, it's not that I don't want to share. It's just that I'm not going to video them shouting and crying and, in their big feelings and then post that online, because I think that's maybe where I draw the line. But in terms of maybe some of the things that I go through, the reason I share is because I've realized that it really impacts other moms in a positive way, and that also has also helped me tremendously. It's one of the most loneliest journeys I've ever been on. As much as I have my dad, my sister, or friends, they don't understand unless you've been in that situation. So there are times where I genuinely have overshared, but I think because I have such a strong community of people who encourage me and just daily sending me messages of encouragement and, support. And I did this when that happened. Maybe you should try this. And then I get to be able to also better my parenting. And then I've also impacted somebody else's life. And they also realize they're not alone and they're not crazy. I've gone through it. Other moms have gone through it. And it kind of makes us feel a little bit more connected. So I think that encourages me to keep sharing. And I think there is also power in being vulnerable and sharing that, things are not always beautiful. It's chaos. It's complete chaos. But there's beauty in the chaos, Yeah.
How do you deal with trolls, as she was asking?
Oh, I used to advise always, why are they always naked? I'm like, they're not. They don't have a sweater on. Pneumonia is not. Anyway, that's a conversation for another day. But I guess I've realized that they have things about themselves that they don't like, or maybe I used to take everything really badly, and it really used to affect me. And I think now it's more that I realize they're insecure in something and they're just projecting. I think the only time it really affects me is when I'm very much insecure about it. So that's the only time, because I already am insecure, so then it'll really affect me. But there are sometimes they'll say something about maybe my parenting, and I'm like, actually, you know what, I think I'm a pretty great mom, so you can't really affect me that way. Or they might say something about my kids, and I'm like, I know for a fact my child is not like that, so you can take that somewhere else. But if it's your teeth, blah, 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 then I'm like, oh shit, I know. And I need to go to the dentist. That's the only time it affects me. And honestly, I've also learned to block and move on. Yeah.
It takes a lot. It takes a lot, filtering what you allow.
Yeah.
But for me, I think I wanted to understand, you've been a mom 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with every child, it's very different. The Mama Olive that we know is not Mama Nova right now. How has that journey been? Has it changed you as a person? What are the key insight and lessons that you have for anyone who's transitioning baby 1, baby 2, even baby 6, especially in this economy?
I don't know about that.
Yeah. What if you'll be slapped with,
No thanks.
Triplets.
Triplets.
Yeah, you have 3 and then you're like triplets one time.
Or six
God, I
triplets.
love
Is that
you,
a thing?
but-
See, I think so. There was a
Yeah.
lady who had 8 at one go, right? I don't know.
Optimal.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh yeah, the one from the States.
Even in, I think, Western Kenya, we had
5. She had 5.
She had 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
It happens, yeah.
Quintuple.
Honestly, imagine if you're only planning for one and you're hit with... anyway.
Let's
what was
not
your
Anakuja na sahani yake, they say. So they will come with 8 plates. So my question was around like transitioning from Mama
sorry,
Olive to Mama Mali.
It threw me. Okay, yeah.
How have you, especially, that new mom stage, then another kid, and then navigating tantrums, health, finances, life transitions.
Yeah.
So how has that changed you as a mom?
I think just generally becoming a mom, you start to prioritize different things in your life, like what you want your life to be. You're not... before Olive, I was like partying all the time, and I just didn't have the same priorities that I do now. So obviously that's changed my life in a whole lot of that. I'm a lot more serious. The work that I do, and the reason I work so hard is because I have kids. I think I really wouldn't be this person today if I didn't have kids. I think I'd still be out there just like gallivanting and enjoying life, but not really doing anything serious with my life. And I feel like now I have a purpose. So it's something like positive to look forward to, and just knowing that, there are 3 kids that just genuinely adore you. It gives you some really nice fulfillment. In terms of the 3 different kids, I think I'm definitely a lot more chill as a 3rd-time mom, and not because of my kids are different, but just because I understand what motherhood is, and I am a lot more confident in my abilities. Like the first time you're just given this baby to go home and you're like, okay, and then
How was that feeling? Take us through that moment.
I was excited. I was genuinely excited. I've always wanted to be a mom, always. So I was really excited. But then like every breathing moment, I'm like, is she breathing? And then I'm messaging my doctor about everything. And like I'm literally like, my nose is there, my hand is on her heart, like I'm listening to her. It was so scary. It was just really, really scary. As soon as like you're home and there's no one to help you, I think that's why, it's really nice to have that community, and to have people around you who have done it before. It is just really a terrifying feeling. So then you have number 2 and you're like a little bit more confident. And now with number 3, I'm like, I really couldn't. Like number 1, I would wash her pacifier. I would like wash everything. No one, and then now with number 3, I'm like, her Skittles fell on the floor and we're like collecting them together to eat them because I'm not throwing them out. Like it's fine. We're fine. So I think I've just become a lot more relaxed. And I also think it's been quite unfair on my first because, you're a lot more, not strict, but like I'm more scared. So I didn't allow her to do as much as I
We're all firstborn, so we understand.
Yeah.
We feel your pain.
No, it's really, I feel so bad. And then you feel like when you have them close in age, I felt like Olive was so much older. So I had my expectations for her went like here when she was still a baby, like she was 2, I think. Yeah, she was 2 when Mali was born, 18 months. So, but suddenly she felt like such a big girl, and Mali was still a baby, and I was like, now you're a big girl, I held higher standards, and that wasn't fair as well. So like you live and you learn. It's your first time doing it, regardless of the amount of kids you're having, So I feel like I'm just a lot more relaxed now as a mom, and I'm more confident. But in terms of dealing with tantrums and big emotions, it's definitely harder the more you have, because they have so many big emotions, and then at the same time, and then you're trying to, and I get overstimulated like really easily. So one child is really crying about something here, and to them it's big. It could be like their hairband broke, but to her it's like catastrophic. So I'm like, just like, it's not important because these 2 are also crying, and I'm like, this is really not something you should be crying about. But for her, she's really feeling the feels. Then the dog is barking, and then the cat is scratching the couch, and I'm like, I'm about to, and I'm dealing with my own emotions at the same time. Yeah. I mean, those moments, there's no beauty. There's no beauty. It's just,
I love what you've said about Olive, and I think so many of us who are firstborn daughters, we get that. Like I've never had a mom, say the way you've said it, and I think it's a moment for us to even say, okay, our moms, they feel that way, and it's not their fault.
Yeah, it's so difficult. It's such a, if I had, in hindsight, if I knew what I knew today, I would definitely try and do things a lot more different. I think the one piece of advice I was given is when they're both crying, go for the oldest first. So that's something I always kept in mind. So I never wanted to make Olive feel left out or that
out,
she's like secondary now to the baby.
Yeah.
So that's something I kept in mind. But there were so many other things that came after that that's been a bit like difficult. I also remember as a child when my parents always used to say like, look after your sister because we went to school in South Africa. And then I broke down one day and I was like, oh, what about me? No one's looking after me. You know,
Yeah.
so I do understand what it is like as a first child. But yeah,
there's always that little girl is asking, what about me?
Yeah.
Why not me?
who's there to I want to be looked after.
Yeah.
What's your age gaps between your the second born? What's your age gap?
4.
2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's why I think my experience is always so different. I have a 10-year age gap.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So I in a sense I proudly took on the responsibility of wanting to be the one to look after her, if that makes sense. So my experiences are different to when you're closer in sibling. I think like you might actually relate a lot more to Olive.
Yeah, Olive and Mali.
Yeah.
It's me and my sister Esther.
Yes.
So yeah.
What's and Nova?
And then
So what's the space between Olive and Nova?
5 years. Wait, 5 years. Sorry, I'm so lost. Yes, 5 years. And that I found to be such a better age gap because like you're saying, like she was able to, not necessarily that I wanted her to help, but she was able to also be independent, and she didn't need me as much as when she needed me when I had Mali, which was a bit more difficult. So you've been using your platform in different ways. There was a recent issue, you can talk to the extent that you're comfortable with Mali, with her health. And a lot of people, mothers, tend to not know when to advocate and fight for when you can tell something's not okay with your child. And so if the doctor says, you kind of, especially when they're young, you kind of just keep quiet. Talk us through about like that experience. And I don't know, you've never publicly shared, I don't think, to the degree of what Mali went through. So thankfully it's nothing like chronic or it was nothing too serious. But for a whole year, basically, or almost, I think, it was almost a year, she was just like having these pains in her stomach. So I would just go to the doctor, we'd have blood tests, we'd have stool samples, nothing, she's fine. And as you're saying, you kind of trust the doctor because obviously they know best. So you're just, you're going back home and then she's continuously having this pain and you're getting more worried. So you go back and you're like, no, actually, I really think there's something wrong. Again, blood samples, stool tests, nothing comes up on an x-ray. I mean, not even x-ray, actually, we didn't get there yet. Just feeling the tummy, she's not blocked up, blah, blah, blah. We go home. But then she started getting this pain where she would literally like collapse in pain with her stomach. And it was really bad. Like we'd be in a store doing something and then you just find her on the floor in pain. And it would just continuous go on. And it's really hard to watch them like that. And in your heart there's something not right. So I think
how old was she by the way?
This was last year.
So she was...
Was it? No, it was at the beginning of this year. Sorry. Yeah. So she is 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's been going on since she was 5, actually. Yeah. Okay. And so I think it just, it got into a year and she's literally like in so much pain and she's a strong girl, but she's on the floor in pain and this happens very regularly. So it was really scaring me because, as I'm Googling all sorts of things and it was really scary. And I just think I reached a point where we had done so many blood tests. They had touched it. And I also just generally don't like the healthcare system here. I mean, there are places you'll go, you'll find great doctors, but generally I just feel like you get in, they do like a quick test and they're like antibiotics. And I'm sure there are cases where they're obviously needed, but I personally feel like we're just giving them like candy.
Yes.
And I'm not saying anything against how I know they're needed, and I don't know. I want to tread lightly here, but I personally feel like every time we've gone to the doctors, there are times where we didn't need to take the amount of medication that.
I agree.
I don't know. Yeah. And I don't want like doctors to come to me in the comment.
You know
what I'm saying.
Your system. So in the UK, it's very hard to just get antibiotics just like that.
Yeah.
But here, like I remember one time my cousin had a cold and he's like, "Oh, it's okay. I'll just get antibiotics." I'm like, "For a cold?"
Yeah, that's what I mean. Really? Even when you go to the pharmacy, they're ready to just give you, and I'm just like, but surely there's just something to help support, like maybe feel better, like some tea. I don't know, like
just be like Dutch paracetamol.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, exactly. What is that?
Just paracetamol. Whenever you go, just that's
exactly.
it.
I mean,
go rest.
And even
holistic medicine.
Yeah, I think there's just too much. Already I'm frustrated with the system and like anyway. So almost a year passes. She's in excruciating pain, and then one day I just decided to tell the guy I'm actually not leaving until we do further tests because she's constantly in pain. I believe her. Obviously, I've seen it. It's really disturbing, and I'm really worried. And you're just going to tell me the exact same thing. So I just pushed for it. And he was like, okay, on Monday we'll do x-rays. This lady's going to be here. The pediatrician, like ped obstetrician, or I don't know, the guy for gastro. And I don't even know. All these doctors are coming on this day, blah, blah, blah. So we're coming back to do all these tests. I'm not leaving this hospital without further tests because we've continuously done this and you've not found it and there's something wrong. So the guy was like, okay, I'll book you in for all these guys. So we come, and it turned out she was blocked from the bottom of her intestine to the top. Literally the entire, and the gastro, the doc was like, I don't even know how she's able to function. She should be in so much pain that she shouldn't even be able to do anything.
Wow.
So yeah, and like the guys have been feeling her for like blockage, and they're like, no, they're fine. She's fine.
So eventually, what test was it that like?
I think they did an X-ray, and it showed up in the X-ray that she was like blocked the entire way. And yeah, so she had to have like a tube put up her nose. Literally, like they push it up and all the way into your system. So like the first time she pulled it out, yeah, it was so traumatic. But anyway, they found it, and she just had to be on like laxatives and things like that to get everything to flush out her system, and then also continuously for the next 6 months, because apparently some kids, they develop this, their tummy isn't able to work properly or something like that. I'm not really quite sure. So she had to do it for consistently for 6 months, and she's been fine ever since.
Okay.
But I think, yeah, the thing for me is just I know when my kids are sick. You can tell, I think. And
advocating
Yeah.
for better systems, and even for your child.
yeah.
And I think you might not know it. I always say to people, you'll never really know the power of your voice, the power of you sharing, because you probably saved some other mothers.
But so many people, you have no idea. Firstly, I had 2 friends call me with their kids having stomach issues or stuff like that, and people messaging me as well, being like, you know, I'm really, thank you for sharing this, because I'm now going to go and advocate because my child has been sick from da 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 da. And I think, yeah, I just think it's so, and I know how embarrassing it is, because you're essentially, you know, what is it like? Going against somebody who knows what they're saying. I mean, they've studied their whole life for this, and you're like, no, actually, I know better. It's not that I know better, I just know my child.
Yes.
And I've heard, like, even in the States, there's some doctors who will listen to moms because they have mothers know best, or what is that? They literally
That
will run
instinct.
tests. Yeah, they'll run tests specifically because the mom has said so, even if they don't find anything.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important for us to be able to just, if we know our kids, if we know deep down our kids are not well, just fight for it. That really taught me as well.
Yeah, you
It
also
wasn't easy.
taught the kids to question and push until they feel better, because even them, they now know, actually, if I'm not feeling better, I shouldn't be silent. I should figure out how to fix that.
Yeah, exactly.
What was the inspiration behind like Motherhood Unplugged?
So basically, I think just the fact that it's such a lonely, like what we were talking about initially, it's such a lonely experience. And as much as I have my dad and my sister around, I just found that no one really understood what I was going through unless you've been through it. There's some things I've been through that I just don't think anyone would know unless you've been. And I know that's a fact, because even my friends now who have become parents and, you know, are replying 2 weeks later and things like that, you know, that's what happens when you become a mom. And even like what my other friend the other day was like, my priorities have totally changed. There's some friends I don't even speak to anymore. And, you know, like it changes your entire world, and you won't understand until you're in that situation. And I just realized there's so many moms who feel unsupported, unseen. Like, you know, we all think we're crazy going through something alone when really we're all going through it together. And I think after I had my first event, it's just something I'm just so passionate about since becoming a mom. And I think having my first event and one mom said something and then like everyone is crying because we've all experienced it or something like that. And everyone is feeling those emotions, and we're all sharing and, you know, sharing experiences, sharing tips, supporting each other. And that just really set off now Motherhood Unplugged going forward. And I just think it's such a huge, I mean, it's the biggest thing that somebody can do, and we need more support for it. And I think we lack a lot of support and information here in Kenya.
Well done you for even thinking like that and realizing. What was the aha moment that said to you, actually, if I'm feeling like this, because that, like with the Sister Speaks events, it was an aha moment that we had.
Yeah.
We were like, well, if I can feel better in being in space where I can talk, imagine if we could extend this opportunity for more women to come and meet and talk about particular issues.
Yeah.
What was your aha moment?
I think just having my page grow the way it did in the conversations I was having behind the scenes. I think that because I'll meet people who are in real life and they're like, you've really impacted me, or even get messages online and they're like, you've really helped me develop my relationship with my daughter, or you've really helped me do XYZ. And like, it really touches me, and it made me feel like we need this space where we can have these conversations. It was just literally because that page grew the way it did and the community I've built, and I was like, we should take this from offline on from online offline and actually have these conversations in person. And yeah, I enjoy having that community. So I also felt like, what's a way I can also be giving back to moms? Yeah.
How has motherhood shaped your vulnerability? Because, social media is one, real life is another. So how do you balance, those moments you're like, I'm done, I cannot, you close yourself in the bathroom and you just want to cry.
Yeah.
How do you?
Yeah.
I have friends who are moms and I've seen that. So how do you become vulnerable, and how do you, sort of like ride that wave when you're feeling I'm not a strong mom anymore?
I think I've also shared those times online. Some people might say oversharing, but personally, I think I got so much support when I shared those moments online. And I also share because I think other mums are going through the same thing. And so being able to share and let other mums know, like, we're all in this together is helpful for me, and I think helpful for someone else. But there are days that, and I think, like, I don't know, it really impacts me in a way I can't show up. So sometimes you'll find me even showing up very inauthentically, and you can see the changes in my numbers and my engagement because it's not me. And I find it really difficult to just put on that face of just like, hey guys, how's it going? Like, there are days that I spend an entire day thinking about how to come on and just say good morning. Like, I'll spend the whole day thinking about, no, this, I can't do it. But then I push myself because social media, you have to make numbers, you have to keep the engagement up. And so I feel,
and it's your money maker.
Exactly. So it's really difficult for me sometimes, and there are times where I go into like, I stop replying to work. I'm not creating content for work, and I struggle with that, and I'm still figuring that out, how to balance.
Again, someone told us, I think, on this podcast that there's nothing about balance anymore. It's creating the system. So there's no motherhood life work balance. It's more like system that works for you. Perhaps maybe what system do you have that, when you wake up in the morning, this is what works for me. Maybe it could be brush your teeth, make the breakfast, remove the toys. How does that system look like for you?
I think it also changes every season. I've learned that what could have worked for me last week might change next week. So I think being able to stay fluid is one of my biggest lessons, because I really struggle. Like, for example, I know that getting up, working before the kids are up, I'm really my most productive in the morning. So I like to wake up early, get work done. If I can get a gym session in, fantastic. That really helps me feel good about the day. But then sometimes I'll have my plans set for Monday, and one kid has been sick all night on Sunday, and you can't wake up because you're completely tired. One kid is clinging on you. Every move you make, they're with you. So then that ruins your entire. Like, for me, for me, when one thing goes wrong, it's like my whole day is like, well, it's effed. So I've learned to kind of be fluid. There are days that things will work and some days don't, and I think that's my biggest lesson. But yeah, I do enjoy waking up a lot earlier than the kids. Firstly, there's like silence. No one has called my name, and I really enjoy it.
You wake up at 4?
I wake up at 4, yeah.
Wow.
I used to wake up at 3, yeah.
What time do you sleep?
As soon as we're going to sleep together with the kids at 8, unless I'm binging, we're all going to sleep together. So that's why I'm like, no one call me. If we're having a plan, we're not doing anything past 6. Like dinner also must start at like 5:30 p.m. Even if we're like going out to dinner, we're going at 5. No one can invite me for like a 9 p.m. dinner. But I think that to me really works. Going to sleep early really works. Doing something for myself, like going to the gym, really helps me feel like I'm in a good mood and makes me feel proud of myself. But honestly, it's just such chaos, and I feel like every day is different, especially because of my work as well. So I can rely on the schedule of the kids' schedule, because you have to drop and pick. But then for me, everything changes every day depending on what work I have. So again, just being able to be fluid, go with the flow. Yeah.
Just hearing you speak, reminds us that mothers are superhuman.
They are.
From your instinct to your ability to just adapt and change, and just really also being in tune with your kids when they can't fully express themselves all the time. So you've touched on, a few systems that help you with burnout. So any fellow mothers out there that might be listening, or fellow content creators, that struggle of having to create on demand, even when you don't feel like it. So we just have a few quick fire questions.
Okay.
So you touched on how you manage burnout while being a mom. Is there any other thing advice you'd like to give mothers that struggle with burnout on a day-to-day basis? You're busy taking care of the whole household. How do you take care of yourself?
God.
Yeah. How does Tatiana?
Like
Yeah.
I would like other people to let me know that because I'm currently still figuring that out, honestly. But what would I say to other moms? Honestly, I think one of the pieces of advice I got is not to go and look for self-care or something like that. And it's not about necessarily doing something, but it's about doing something you enjoy and genuinely enjoy. So I think for a lot of people, it's like go out and get self-care as a massage and get your hair done, get your nails done. For me, what that looks like is everybody leave my house and just leave me alone. And the vet can come and take the pets. And I don't want any house help there. And I just want to be literally alone. And I want to eat a self-care day. But those come very few and far between. Is that the way you say it? Yeah. So I think, I don't know, honestly, I'm still trying to figure out burnout. And I think that happens also because I struggle with my own mental issues. And I think being able to be in a calm space is the most important thing. So being you have to be able to self-soothe. You have to be able to, if the kids are shouting and you know it's going to set you off, you have to be able to go decompress, literally close your door for 10 minutes and come back out. Otherwise, that sets you off for everything. Everything the rest of the day is just anger. And I think that for me is, when I start getting overwhelmed and like there's too much noise, that's when I start getting really angry and I need to go and calm down. Otherwise, the whole day, I'm going to be angry at every kid, every animal, everyone that talks to me. And that's not healthy. So I think for me, it's just about regulating myself, regulating my emotions, stepping away from the chaos for a bit.
Yeah.
That's great. You know, the awareness that, you know, you have your own, needs mentally and perhaps maybe for a mom who is navigating that journey postpartum, she does have the need or the community, what she needs rather, and the community, and maybe navigating even differently abled children. What would be your quick, maybe it could be a breathing technique, could be at your timeout, self-regulating, technique. What can you share with a mom who's navigating that journey?
And I think to add even the prepartum, so the ones before, like the nervousness. I think you might have experienced that with Nova.
I think
before she was born.
Honestly, I didn't get nervous before any of them because I was like, I'm going to think about it. That's who I am just generally. I'll think about it when I get there. I'm not going to think about it before.
Okay.
So that already, I don't know if it's great because I feel like that's what a procrastinator. So I won't think about birth until the day we're doing it.
But now thinking about it before, how's it helping you?
No, exactly. How does it help you? But apparently you go to breathing classes and that really helps. And I don't know. I don't know about all that. I just was like, I'll do it when I do it.
You didn't do any of that?
I did nothing. I prepared in no way whatsoever. In fact, on the third one, I stopped even going to doctors. And I'm like, this is not good, Tats. It's not good. But I think, like, to touch on postpartum, I think for me, I just sought help. If you're talking about like postpartum depression or just postpartum,
just mental wellness.
I think
seek
help. I personally I saw a parenting coach who really helped me because I think it's a lot and it's a lot to take on your own, and if you're able to afford it, and I know there's also a lot of free options out there, being able to have a conversation with somebody who is not your partner or not the person around you who you want to be able to talk about anything with, because there's a lot of things you don't want to say out loud, and I think that's where the problems come, because you keep all of this stuff inside and you don't think that anyone can support you through it. So being able to talk to somebody who literally you don't care about saying anything to and get support from, I think that for me was really helpful. There were some things that I talked to my parenting coach about and I've never said anywhere else, and she helped me through like the toughest season of my life. And I think that should happen whether or not you're going through postpartum depression.
Yeah. Are there resources that you share within the Motherhood Unplugged where maybe someone who doesn't have money for a parenting coach they can tap into?
Unfortunately, I don't share. That's a good addition but I think Lydia KM, she always shares these resources for mental wellness, and she has free options on her page. So I think maybe go and check that out because she has a list of so many things available there. Right. But I think that's a good point to add on to my page.
For anyone that might be an aspiring content creator that wants to share their parenting journey. You having experienced it with your 3 children, and also just transitioning into sharing that very personal journey. What pieces of advice would you give them?
I think somebody actually asked me the other day and they're like, I don't want to necessarily share everything. And I think people need to understand that you can share as much or as little as you want, or whatever you're comfortable with in the first place. I also think there are many ways of going about it. If you're somebody who maybe doesn't want to show their faces, you can maybe shoot from the back. Like if you're having problems thinking about as a family dynamic, how would I share that without sharing them in it? There's so many ways of storytelling without having the kids actually in the content. I think also if you're going to be a content creator with your family, for me, it's also to let go of expectations. When they don't want to shoot, they don't want to shoot, and that's simply okay. You can never force your kids to do anything that they don't want to do. And I think that's actually really terrible if you actually like make them do that. Yeah, and I think, you know, if you are... Yeah, as well as if you're like maybe hiring a photographer or videographer to come for a shoot, to also let them know of your expectations. So like they cannot... I've worked with people who are really angry with the kids like running around and not sitting and doing what they're told.
Because they want perfection.
Exactly. And for me, I'm like, I want very natural. And if my kids are running around, the better. And if they don't want to do it right now, then that's okay. Like I'll pay for this session and that's over. So I think also having those expectations of lowering those expectations completely. Like even partnerships with hotels and things like that. I always tell them, I'm going to do one reel, one post, whatever, but we're going to go with the flow. You don't give me more than one activity a day. There's no, because they used to give you, okay, at breakfast time, we're going to do this, then we're going to go paddleboarding, then we're going to do this. And then you expected the kids to be in a good mood from the morning to the evening. So I think just being able to accept those expectations everywhere you go is really important.
I like that. Like being quite clear.
Yeah.
To also be respectful of that these are kids at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And they're doing this because their mom has chosen to use this as a model.
Yeah. And I
telling
think also in contracts, like make sure that they can't just use your kids' likeness the way they want. So like read that fine print. For me, it's actually outrageous that companies always ask me like, can they just not be on our page? And they're not being paid for that, and it's in perpetuity. And like it's not like, I actually think it's absurd that somebody would ask that. And also have your kids get money. If you want your kids in the content, make sure they're making money and put it in a bank account for them.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
There's always this question around house girls, nannies, and caregivers. Of course, you've had a few come through, for you.
Yeah.
How have you navigated that? I know there's that sore relationship with nannies and house girls.
I actually don't have one. Actually, I love...
never?
I mean, I have had instances where I've had to... There was one instance, actually, where I think... I've never been so angry, but aside from that, number one, I think the first thing to understand is like this is not something that they train for. So for somebody to expect either a house help or a nanny to have like all this training and know exactly what to do everywhere, it's like it's what is the word? Like what is the word I'm trying to? It's
not realistic.
Yeah, it's unrealistic. Thank you. I don't know where my mind went for a minute. It's so unrealistic to think that they're going to come and know exactly what to do with everything. And I think setting those expectations for nannies and house helps we're already cutting it fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. Another thing is I think that they don't need to have like 1,001 things on their CV. I think a piece of advice I got was, as long as you like their values and their character, everything else, everything else can be taught. So you can teach them what you want them to do in your house, but as long as you know that they're a good person, it doesn't matter if they've taken an IT course and I don't know what else. Like that's really not important. I used to look for that, and then I realized that's not really. So even the two ladies I have now, like they're just the most amazing women. I've never seen their CV, but I just trusted my gut in who they are, and I've had them 3 years later, and I trust them with like my kid's life. You know, and for me, that's the biggest thing I can trust them with. But I honestly, there's no one else I would, even more than my parents. Let me even say that.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, because they're with them, innit?
Exactly.
Yeah,
every
they're with
single
them
day.
a lot more.
Yeah, of course, my parents love them more,
Yes.
and so mom and dad, I know.
But they understand the kids' routine. They probably even understand their characteristics. They know when Nova is not happy or in the mood. They'll pick it up faster than your parents who see them they see them frequently.
Every day, actually.
But the aunties, let's call them the aunties, they're with them from morning to night.
Yeah.
So
they almost can predict how they respond, how they react to stuff. I think teachability is also something that it has to be at the top of your list when you're looking for a nanny.
Yes, exactly. And I think also just treating them with respect. Like I just think that we have such a terrible culture of treating house helps and stuff with so much disrespect.
Right.
Eating in a different, you can't eat the same thing, or you sit at a different table. Like for me, from get-go. In fact, I remember initially I used to share that I'm friends with my nannies, like that we're friends, we're family at home. And then I remember getting some certain people were talking about the fact that you really shouldn't, that's not okay, you know? And for me, I mean, I guess, there has to be some professionalism, but for me, we're family more than anything,
Yes.
And so I used to be scared out of talking about that side of it because a lot of people were like, this is really, like, it's not professional. You shouldn't do things that way. But I've decided, actually, I was just thinking about it the other day. I've just decided that I actually want to start sharing that journey again more because actually I think it's fantastic to be friends. Of course, there are boundaries certain people can't cross,
Yes.
and that should be known. But I think being friends and being like they are my family, so I can't treat them like lesser humans. And in fact, it irks me anywhere we go and they're treated differently than I am treated.
Oh, God,
Like,
yeah.
I don't get angry at people, but I get angry at that.
Yeah.
So I think that's...
Can I share my ick when it comes
Yeah.
to nannies?
Yeah.
Those terrible uniforms. Why is she wearing a uniform at Village Market?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
Speaking of, like, I was just listening to you. Anyway, we've also had previous conversation outside of this, and just that point you've made about how you want to share about the ladies who help you. It speaks of your authenticity,
Thank you.
Right?
which I think we can all attest. We have met people who they are online
Yeah.
and who they are when you meet them. You're like, okay. And so it changes. That's why they say sometimes don't meet the person you admire. You
Oh, 'cause you'll be let down.
Yeah. How do you, is that something you learn? Have you always been authentic? Because I don't know you from young.
Yeah.
And like, how do you teach that? Because I feel like that's some of the things that defines the longevity of your lifeline in social media, so to speak. Because we've reached the point where we're seeing it with politicians that we're tired of fakeness and we have no time for it. We're gonna call you out on your BS and stuff. And so you're seeing there's certain social media influencers. I was having a conversation with my friend, and there's one I'm not gonna mention, but in my mind I was like, I'm not sure how long you're gonna last because you're the way you present yourself and the way we're moving in a society. You see, even musicians, you see how like Beyonce was challenged when she released her hair stuff because she doesn't talk. And so her brand, I don't know how it's doing, but those are the things, like, people want to connect with you. What would you speak for people who...
Honestly, I'm just too exhausted to pretend to be somebody else. I'm just so tired. Why would I have literally shown Instagram the worst. I could literally wake up and I look like I've been partying for 10 days. Meanwhile, it's just waking up tired because of the kids. And I'm on Instagram. Like, I'm too tired. You mean I have to go and then now start brushing my hair and like putting lip gloss on to come onto the... Like, who has the time? But in a sense, like, I don't know. I think being able to take ownership or like take the power of your story is really important. And I used to be the person that I used to actually very much care. I think maybe that's also my upbringing, not my parents, but maybe even where I went to school and things like that. I think I used to really
peer
care.
pressure, your societal pressures.
Exactly. I used to really care about what people thought about me and maybe not having certain things or having certain things or what car I was driven to in school. I used to care about those things. And then I just reached a point where I'm just like, but my life is beautiful regardless of how much money I have or, and it's what I make it. I don't know where I came. I think it's actually because I became a parent. And then that changed my my perception on life and what is beautiful and what is important. I genuinely owe a lot to Olive. Let me tell you, I owe a lot to Olive. Because it really changed me as a whole person about, what I think is important in life.
She probably made you, like, being a mother, it sounds like it made you tender
and
soft. And there's an interview.
But it brought you. It was already there.
It brought it out.
You know?
And even just dropping the shame tag or dropping the wanting to always look perfect. Because I also do that. I have times where I'll record with my eyebrows drawn, and then sometimes, like, to be honest, it's really important for me to do this. I don't have time to go draw. I'm going to forget what I needed to say. So I hear you. So speaking of I know we're almost running out of time. What can people expect with the conversation? We didn't really talk about how you balance your wellness and fitness. Also with your journey of motherhood, but also, like, what can people expect with your Motherhood Unplugged? I know that you've got something going on. I'll let you.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be. So I think the main reason for that session is for mums. Again, like I said earlier, when you come and share something, you're sharing an experience that other moms go through. So that connection of feeling like I'm seen, like somebody else is doing this. So what are they doing? What can I pick up from them? Make a friend. Learn that you're not crazy or alone in anything that you're going through, and maybe share some resources. I think the main aim is just to feel a little less alone than you usually do, which is a big thing I think in motherhood. But also I'll be talking with Francisca, and I think we're going to be talking about all things wellness and mental wellness for children, which for me is what I've told her. I'm interested in learning because my kids have been through instances where they've really needed some extra help. I've always told myself I'm going to go to like a child therapist and etc. But I've just never ended up being there. I mean, it's not cheap, you know.
Yes.
So
and you also have 3.
Yeah, and it's just like
you might need a therapy for each child.
I have to put them out to school to be able to do therapy, you know. But I think it's just really important for me to learn about their emotional well-being and how to help them through certain journeys.
I like that.
Yeah. So for me, I'm also learning. We're all going to be learning together, and I think that's gonna help you from birth all the way, because every stage they change. Even like Olive, her mental what she's thinking now is so different from 2 years ago.
She's 9 now.
She's almost 9.
She's almost 9.
No joke. She's 8.5.
Okay.
Where are we? Yeah, she just turned 8.
Okay.
And then just when they're teens, what are they going to be thinking about? You know, they're going to have their period.
Yes, I was going to say, there's a whole journey coming up.
And I was terrible.
I
was so bad in my teens. So, you know, I need to learn how to work through those issues before we get there. Like I'm saying, brain development is so important. Yeah. So being able to understand these issues and how to help our kids navigate some emotional seasons or just big feelings, I think is so important. And so I'm really excited about this conversation because I'm going to be learning a lot too.
And we're excited to have you in not only just as a speaker, but also you bringing Motherhood Unplugged. And I'm going to be bold and say this won't be the first time we will engage with bringing on board Motherhood Unplugged, because I feel like even though we are not mothers yet, it's a journey. We're speaking into the but not quintuplets, not octuplets, not that. Okay, although I hope my words won't come back to bite me.
I'm telling you, we're all gonna have. You guys are all gonna.
I received.
Oh, you received?
Yes. 8. Well, 4 was good to the number. God's will.
Okay.
We'll see. As long as they're healthy.
Yeah.
Actually, 4 is a good number. How are you going to birth 4?
Actually, ma'am, you always wanted 7 children, if I remember well.
Yeah, I have said that many times.
Wow,
Yes.
are you serious?
But I think it's just because I come from a big family, so it's like I can't imagine life any other way. I can't imagine just being an only child. Like, what did that feel like?
You're 5 sisters and 1 brother.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
twins
so-
in their family as well.
twins in the
Oh, so
family
you
as
can
well.
have twins.
Yeah.
4 sets of twins. That would be your 8.
Oh my goodness. But thank you so much, Tatiana, for being here with us.
And being raw.
Thank you.
Keeping it real. And I think the fact that also a lot of your audience were not mothers, you know, but we connect with you. We resonate with so many of your candid moments that you share. So thank you for, you know, being brave enough to just be authentic and be you.
Yeah.
To any of our overreactors out there, if they want to stay, you know, plugged into everything that you're doing, how can they find you?
Firstly, thank you so much. To find me, you can go to @MamaOliveK on Instagram or @Motherhood_Unplugged KE on Instagram, or @Tatiana Karanja Photo. And so if you're ever looking for a photographer, that's also me. I think those are the 3 places you can find me.
Yeah, and just because she mentioned about Motherhood Unplugged, the session I'm going to be moderating, it's happening on July the 6th, right?
5th.
The 5th. I don't know why I keep confusing that. And it's all about where we bring women's health at the center stage, you know, navigating motherhood, you know, listening to your reproductive hormones, you know, shifting with those transitions and, you know, embracing the journey of whether you're mom, child-free or, you know, aspiring future mom. So come and let's connect. Let's connect. Let the sneakers connect.
Let the sneakers connect.
Exactly. So yeah, as we wrap up, make sure that you keep connected with us on social media at Sister Speaks 254 at OVAReact Podcast. And of course, you can catch any of these episodes at Capital FM Kenya and also www.sisterspeaksglobal.org.
Yes, and you'll be able to listen to this episode live at 10 p.m. on Wednesday. And you can also watch Tatiana via Capital FM YouTube channel, and any other previous episodes, you can listen to them as well. Follow us on www.sisterspeaksglobal.org, and you will get to meet Tatiana for the Sneakers Connect, and you can have a chat with her. And if you have some advice, maybe even for her, and vice versa. So we look forward to seeing you at the Sneakers Connect. We're not all wearing sneakers today, so I think I'm the one who's off.
Yeah.
Sorry, didn't get the memo. So we thank you for listening, and we are now going to wrap it up. And how we wrap it up is we will invite you to say OVAReact with us. All right?
Okay.
So when I say ladies, let's. Well, we can dance.
You lied.
You lied. Ladies, let's OVAReact.